everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. This is going to be my second installment on my favourite 3 albums from 5 consecutive years. This time I'm going to focus on 1975 to 1979. The last video I did was 80 to 84 and there was quite a few people that commented on that, which is great, and thank you very much for that. So to start off, 1975, third best album for me is Queen's A Night at the Opera. Very full blown, over the top, bombastic, but that's the sort of Queen I liked, to be honest with you. I'm more of the 70s type Queen fan rather than the more pop oriented 80s. This has got the pure pop hit of You're My Best Friend and the near miss of Bohemian Rhapsody. No, seriously, this is a really good album. I've seen videos before where some people don't rate this as highly up the Queen and the Queen discography as I would. I think it's maybe because there's a few songs that are a little bit vaudeville 1920s style, for example Seaside Rendezvous and Losing on a Sunday Afternoon, and maybe there is one too many. Good Company maybe a little bit one too far, but to be honest with you, I love them, I really do. Death on Two Legs is a great opener. 39 is a fantastic Brian May song, acoustic song with his vocals. Great, absolutely great. He had a habit of doing those in the 70s and he never did them in the 80s, and I don't understand why. I wish he had. The Prophet song may go on a little bit too long, and it's an attempt at a Bohemian Rhapsody. It doesn't quite work as well, but I still do think it's a great song, and Love of My Life is beautiful. No, I really enjoy this album, and it would probably be my favourite Queen album. So that's number 3 from 75. Number 2 from 75 is Young Americans. Absolutely love this album. Love it to bits. The title track is immense. Fame, big hit in America. But the LP tracks are awesome. When is so beautiful, as is Can You Hear Me. He does a really good version of Across the Universe, which is not to everybody's tastes, but at least he changes it. He doesn't try to copy it, he changes it and makes it his own he makes it his own song, really. As I said before in another video, this should have been a double album, but we won't go into that again. Another standout track for me is the song Right, which the vocal exchange between Bowie and the background singers, you just have to hear it to understand what I mean. So the number one album for me is Sparks and Discrete from 1975. Absolutely love this album, love it to bits. So I've shown this before as well. This has got various different styles. Again, it's a nod back to the 20s with Looks, Looks, Looks. There's the violin only led Under the Table with Her. There's the marching, stomping beat of Hospitality on Parade. This is produced by Tony Visconti. Canadian Stud Muffin said this is actually the Sparks' White Album on one disc, and I tend to agree. I think it's fantastic. Okay, 1976. Third best album is Graham Parker, Howlin' Wind. Excellent debut. There's a Stones influence with Soul Shoes, but the main influence for this is, for me, Van Morrison. Gypsy Blood and Silly Thing and White Honey are all very Van Morrison influenced. Parker was one of the 3 angry young men. There's Parker, Elvis Costello and Joe Jackson. This guy never really got the credit he deserved. An excellent songwriter. And this came out before punk. This came out in the start of 1976. It's quite pub rocky type, but with that soul undertones. He's a really good singer, and yes, he is one of those spit in your face, angry young men type singers, but yeah, love it. Brilliant debut. Second album of 76 for me would be, and again, Graham Parker. This is Heat Treatment. This is a little bit more polished than the first one. Great songs, like That's What They All Say, the title track. Hotel Chambermaid is as catchy as hell, really. Backdoor Love is a great rock and roll number. Shudder to think what the actual lyrics are about though, but anyway. Black Honey is on this, is wonderful, wonderful album. I think this just edges it, to be honest with you, over Highland Wind. But I've been trying to think, is there any other artist that has had two such great albums? And I mean really great albums in my book. Better than Graham Parker's first two, and the closest I could get to was Elvis Costello. But even at that, these two overall are better, I believe, than My Aim Is True and This Year's Model. But that's Graham Parker, number 2 for 76. And number 1 from 76 is, and I'm not ashamed to say it, it's Arrival by ABBA. This is pure pop at its finest. 3 hit singles, 2 of which got number 1, Dancing Queen and Knowing Me, Knowing You, the other single being Money, Money, Money. This is just unbelievable pop music. The gorgeous instrumental Arrival itself, which was covered by Mike Oldfield, a hit for him. Well, it wasn't a hit, it was a single. When I Kissed a Teacher could have been a single. My Love Life is the most beautiful ABBA ballad. You think, oh, Winner Takes It All. No, My Love Life is a better song. Tiger is fun. It could have actually been a single as well. Why did it have to be me with Bjorn singing? Again, catchy, good, strong pop music, and this sold by the bucket load, and quite rightly so. This is ABBA, Arrival. Okay. Going on to 1977 and the third, Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks. In your face, punk rock. Really, this is what, if you had to pick one true punk rock album, this is probably the one to go for. 4 iconic singles: Holidays in the Sun, God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant. What an intro to Pretty Vacant, really, what an intro. And what's the one? Oh, Anarchy in the UK. Bodies, Liar, EMI, oh, brilliant stuff. And this is the one I would always say, Sex Pistols are a vinyl band, they are not a CD band. I have the CD of this and it just doesn't sound the same. It has to be vinyl for me. Love it, absolutely adore it. Never Mind the Bollocks, the Sex Pistols. Number 2, which is technically a punk album, but I don't really, well, they are punk. But I've showed this, God knows how many times already. I've only started this VC and this is probably its 3rd appearance. Rattlers Norvegas, the Stranglers, love it to bits. This, as I said before, the Stranglers are a wee bit like the Doors, but a more punkified, let's call it that. Get a Grip on Yourself, Peaches, London Lady, Goodbye Toulouse, my personal favourite, Sometimes, Hanging Around, Princess of the Streets. This is fantastic. They never bettered this one. My copy is on a crappy Fame label. I would love to get an original United Artists version with an inner sleeve and so forth, which I might treat myself to sometime. But yep, brilliant album, 1977. It gets me number 2. So my number 1. It's a bit of a contradiction, really. You saw this at the 2 punk albums of 77, so punk was really formed against the monster rock bands, stadium rock bands that they thought was boring and so forth. But my number 1 is like a stadium rock band, but it's far from boring and it deserves its number 1 place. is Yellows Out of the Blue. This is a masterpiece of music, especially side 3, the Concerto for a Rainy Day. 4 hit singles again. Turn to Stone, Mr. Blue Sky, Wild West Hero, and The Magnificent Sweet Talking Woman. I love it. Jeff Lynne is a genius. Okay, maybe he's stuck in a certain sound, but that doesn't take any credibility away from him, to be honest with you. Phil Spector as a producer was stuck in a certain sound, and people still look at Phil Spector productions as awesome. Jeff Lynne has his own production sound, and this probably was the start of that sound. Not a bad song on this at all. Like, there's fun stuff like Jungle, which if you don't tap your foot to, or you don't sing along to, you're not a human being, to be honest with you. It's Over is a wonderful song, and one of my personal favourites here is Stepping Out. Beautiful ballad. So 1977 goes to the Electric Light Orchestra and Out of the Blue. So going on to 1978, and we have for number 3 Nick Lowe, Jesus of Cool. Nick Lowe produced the early Elvis Costello albums. He produced the Howlin' Wind album by Graham Parker that I've just shown. And he was a songwriter, a singer in his own right. He wasn't one of the angry young men. Nick Lowe would just laugh his way through the whole lot. He's hilarious. He is so light-hearted, such a fun fella. Saw him live in concert, he still got that wit. I really do recommend that you look on YouTube, just type in Nick Lowe, Bay City Rollers, We Love You, and there's an interview, and he was half pissed at the time, half drunk for American friends, and he's hilarious, he's so funny. This here features the hit single I Love the Sound of Breaking Glass. It also features the first single on Stiff called So It Goes. It was released, the album was released in America as Pure Pop for Now People, as Jesus of Cool was probably not appropriate at the time, which I can understand. You've got 6 nice pictures of Nick in the front, except that you don't, because this boy here is not Nick Lowe. This is Dave Edmunds. Dave Edmunds co-wrote Little Hitler, another single off this. The Pure Pop album in America had a slightly different track listing. It included a song called Roller Show, which does not fit, because it was written a couple of years previous to try and get out of a contract with UA, United Artists. Roller Show is about the Bay City Rollers, and it does not fit on this album at all. He didn't get out of the contract, by the way, by writing Bay City Rollers, We Love You, because it was a huge hit in Japan, but Roller Show was either its B-side or it was its follow-up, I'm not too sure. But where the US version does, when it has a studio version of Heart in the City, which is, I think, superior to the live version on this album. Now, the live version on this album is exactly the same as the live version on Dave Edmunds' Tracks on Wax 4 album, with one exception. Vocals are changed. So Dave Edmunds has, I don't know which one's the actual original, but one has dubbed their own vocals on over the live backing track, while the other one, was obviously the original, and I don't know which one was which. Or maybe they both are studio vocals over the live track, backing track, I don't know. But this is my number 3 from 1978. My number 2 from 1978 is the Laid Back album. This is Bob Marley and the Wailers, Kaya. This is wonderful. This is, this actually would make you start smoking pot, to be honest with you. It's got Satisfy My Soul and Is This Love are the 2 biggies on this. Sun is Shining was also a hit, I think, in the 90s here. Easy Skanking and Kaya. It's so laid back, it's unbelievable. It's a really laid back album. Follow up to Exodus, which had about a gazillion singles from it. This is slightly I prefer this, to be honest with you, just about. Side 1's perfect, side 2 is pretty damn good too. Yeah, I'm starting to appreciate Bob Marley an awful lot more than I used to. I think it was just legend and a couple of tracks here and there, but now I really do enjoy the albums. And number 1 of 1978, and this was the easiest choice of the lot to make. This is the Jam All Mod Cons. This is Paul Weller's finest album, bar none. This is perfect. This is a really strong album, and the best of it is, this could have been absolute tripe, because Weller at the time was suffering from writer's block. So Bruce Foxton took on a lot of the writing duties, and no harm to him, Bruce, but he's not the greatest of songwriters. The 1-2 punch of all Mod Cons, and To Be Someone is the best opening of any Jam album. Down in the Tube Station at Midnight. In fact, the last 3 songs in a row on this album, The Place I Love, Abe on the Mortar Street, and Down in the Tube Station at Midnight, are the best 3 closers of any album. In the Crowd is the best closer of any Jam album on side 1. Yeah, and there's a couple of ballads thrown in too. It's a good variety of music. I prefer this slightly to Setting Suns, which I think is more one-dimensional. This is more three-dimensional. My only gripe, and I've always got a gripe, I'm never totally happy about anything, is that I wish Paul Weller had sung David Watts rather than Bruce Foxton. I'm not keen on Bruce Foxton's voice, to be honest with you. The highlight of David Watts is whenever Weller does that, the bridge part, if that's what you call it. I'm not a musician. So yeah, number 1, 1978, the Jam All Mod Cons. Going on to 1979, and I've shown this before as well, third best album, The Undertones, local band, well, from Derry up the road from me. Teenage Kicks is on this, as is Get Over You, but they're actually bonus tracks. This is a reissue, which was reissued about 6 months after the original. This is just pure pop punk. Great stuff. Jimmy Jimmy, Here Comes the Summer, Family Entertainment, Girls Don't Like It, Listening In, She's a Run Around, Catchy as Hell, great stuff. They never beat it, and this is where you really do appreciate Fergal Sharkey's singing. The way he belts out Teenage Kicks, and especially Get Over You. Get Over You is my favourite Undertones track, and it's on this great album. Love it. Number 2 from 1979, and this was my number 1, but I relegated it to number 2 at the last moment. Don't know why. Will I put it back at? No, I'll keep it at number 2. The Clash, London Calling. Iconic album. It is the Clash's finest. I like the way they adjusted the Elvis Presley's first album sleeve with the typography, and have Paul Simon smashing his bass. Not everything that I like on this. I was never too keen on the what's it called, Brand New Cadillac, the cover version. I think it was Vince Taylor's song. If it was Vince Taylor, Adam Ant wrote a song about Vince Taylor on his last album. Not great. And also Vince Taylor was the big influence behind David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust character. Highlights of this is obviously the title track, Wrong and Boy, I think is great. The card sheet, which is very piano led. Hateful and Really Can't Feel are extremely catchy. It's a great double album. There isn't really any filler on this at all. Guns of Brixton is even is the first sort of reggae tinge to show what might come next with Sandinista, which is a seriously acquired taste, but I won't go into that one. Yeah, no, fantastic song, and it also features the uncredited song Train in Vain, I nearly forgot the name of it, After Revolution Rock on side 4. So there you go. Clash number 2 for 1979. So the number 1 album for me for 1979 is Elvis Costello's Armed Forces. This is my favourite Elvis Costello album. Yeah, without doubt. Although anything Elvis Costello did from 77 to 82. When was Imperial Bedroom? 82. And then the next one was Punch Clock in 83. Yeah, 82. Never keen on Punch Clock. Apart from Every Day I Write the Book. No, sorry, getting back. This has got All Over His Army on it, which has got a bit of a steal from ABBA's Dancing Queen with the piano part. Yep. Excellent single, as is Accidents Will Happen. Excellent single. Green Shirt is on this, Busybodies, Goon Squad, all wonderful stuff. The song Sunday's Best, which I adore, was taken off this on the American version and replaced by a cover of Nick Lowe's What's So Funny About Peace, Love and Understanding, which is a good song, and he does a good version of it. In Britain we got that song as a B-side to Nick's American Squirm single. It was credited to Nick Lowe and Friends, but it was actually the Elvis Costello version that featured on the US version. The US version also featured this as the back cover, which always seems weird when I see it. It just doesn't look right. Although I do like the front cover of the American version. I prefer this, but I do like the front cover, but I do not like that as the back cover. So yeah, Elvis Costello, number 1 for 79 with Armed Forces. Fantastic album, love it. As I say, 77 to 82, you can't go wrong with EC. EC, that's Eric Clapton. You can't go wrong with Elvis. Oh God, you can't say that either, or people get offended. There's only one Elvis. Elvis Costello. I'm not going to call him Declan McManus. Elvis Costello. Okay, so anyway, 1975 to 79. I hope you enjoyed that, and the next one I will do maybe this weekend if I get a chance, and it's definitely going to be 1965 to 1969. So anyway, thanks for watching, and please comment below if you have any thoughts, or even tell me some of your favourite albums from these years. Cheers, thanks John, bye bye.